Mellow greetings, fellow stationeers, and welcome back to Mimas with me, 54 Bear. Yes, the silliness continues. We have been very busy. Despite the lack of YouTube uploads, I have been making some things. Most notable, I guess, is the addition of these silos. My chute sorting system works quite nicely, but it doesn't have much capacity. Well, it has a fair amount of capacity, but I was going on some mega mining runs and I filled it up. So I put in these silos to hold the additional stuff. So let's have a look. In the iron, we've got 45 in here, plus a full line of chutes. In the copper, I've got 32. Gold should be empty, but I do have it filled at least to there. Silicon likewise is empty. I'm not quite certain how much silicon I have. Somewhere between there and there is where that ends. Nickel, we've got a few in there, and silver we have a few. So I'm blowing through silicon quite a lot. That's mainly because of all the insulated pipes, because there has been some pipage stuff. First and foremost is the monstrosity, which would rightly be described as something incredibly stupid. The orange pipes you see along here, they're not actually connected at the moment. I'm just roughing things in because I have decided on a rework to the degassing furnace. The idea was sound, but there was a basic flaw in it. These two pressure regulators here, got a regular one and a back pressure regulator, connected to these passive vents, are what controls the contents of the hotbox. The hotbox gives the furnace a lot of thermal stability, and it stays hot for remarkable lengths of time. I think that's because the windows and walls are thermally isolated. So if we look over at the advanced furnace, this has been at 1285 degrees Kelvin for I don't know how long. Probably 60 plus in-game days. It just doesn't change. As long as you don't put any degassed as long as you make certain that the ores you put in are degassed, you're okay. If I was to throw an ingot in, it would cool it down. If I was to throw in ores that have not been degassed, that also would cool it down. Not that it's a real problem. In the purple tank, I've got almost 48 megapascals of gas at 3,500 Kelvin. Way hotter than anything needed in the game. The cool tank has 25 megapascals at 600 Kelvin, and I have a green tank up here dedicated to the degassing furnace, and that has, well, this is the wrong way round. It has the pressure on the left. So 22 megapascals at 440 odd Kelvin, which is about right. I've got the valve switches here, which allow me to cool or warm up the green tank, and I also have controls at the back, none around the front, which will let me do the same to the cool tank. Anyway, the problem that I have, after digressing a little, is these back pressure regulators here that populate the hotbox take their feed from whatever gases are in the furnace, as does this one over here. With the degassing thing, that ends up being a problem, and I didn't actually appreciate that until after I'd finished degassing a bunch of cobalt, which obviously puts some volatiles into the furnace, and by extension it puts it into the yellow manifold pipe, which is also connected to this arrangement. So that then allowed volatiles into the hotbox. And yeah, that was not a good idea. So what I'm going to need to do is rearrange the piping and possibly swap out the two black volume pumps up here with a single turbo volume pump. And at the moment I have one here. It's not connected to any logic. It's just basically power on, power off, and it takes gas out of the yellow pipe network and puts it into the green one, which is connected directly to the tank. And you may notice also I have some condensation valves and evaporation valves in place with liquid storage in between them to take the liquids out of the pipes. That does not work as well as I would like. I suspect it's probably because I don't have enough, and I have had some burst pipe issues, which is why you see the occasional liquid drain slapped on a pipe willy-nilly. There's one here, there's one here. Actually, I think that's it for this sort. And I've had all sorts of trials and errors, a lot of which was recorded, none of which I've chosen to upload, because it either has information that's wrong or wildly speculative or in some manner not a good thing to put out there as a way to do things. So rather than upload it and then issue an apology, I figured I just wouldn't upload it. And that, to be honest, is the main reason why there hasn't been an upload for quite a while. But I've been working diligently on this, trying to iron out all the problems, and yeah, not really there yet. There has been an addition of a new tank, the pink one down here, that has all pollutants in it. Those pollutants are pulled from the filtration. Well, let's see, drop down a bit. From this filtration here, which is pulling stuff out of the brown pipe network, which is at the moment connected to the pink tank here. So I think there's just carbon dioxide left at the moment. Right, and what I had been doing previously is throwing the carbon dioxide away because I have 40 megapascals of it. I do have a feed into the hab for nitrogen, but the carbon dioxide I was taking from the initial supply, which is fed from my first furnace. So there has been some additional pipe funkiness added. As you can see, we have a carbon dioxide line going from the carbon dioxide tank. We have nitrogen from the nitrogen tank, that's the black one, and an extension to the white one, which branches off here, which feeds the cooling systems. I got fed up with filling up bottles, so I just decided to wire it up permanently, plus I thought it looked funky. And that also doesn't go into the hab directly. It feeds this cooling system here, and then it branches over to here to this monstrosity. This is my greenhouse. It's not actually commissioned yet. I've been building it. I need to make a ton more chutes, which is why I printed up so much iron. And yeah, I will need a few more Harveys. I've actually got 10 down there for the 10 trays that are ready to go. But I need a lot of chutes to deal with the delivery and harvesting and collection of all the foodstuffs. And I have this little box section in here. It's not atmospherically separated, but I'm going to be having some mushrooms growing. I will probably put Harveys on those as well. They will look a little silly because they're going to stick out the roof, but I won't mount them as high as these ones are. You'll see more when we get in there. And we have this collection of pipe funkiness and tank stupidity. These are really replicating a lot of the tanks I have over there. We've got volatiles, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and water. At the moment they are all empty. They are connected through this series of valves. I just haven't chosen to throw any of them yet. I did have a problem with my volatile supply. I think I had a momentary senior, well, I think I had a senior moment and threw in some oxide as well while I was into the ice crusher. So I had to put in some emergency filtration to pull the oxygen and nitrogen out of there. That's now done, so we're back to 100%. But the idea behind having these valves here is, obviously I want to kickstart the greenhouse. I can do it with the atmosphere that is already in the hab. There is enough in there. There's about 50 kilopascals of pressure throughout the whole base. Give you a little tour on the inside in a moment. And I want to make certain, or I want to aim to get the base self-sufficient. And the way I thought of doing that is I will open these valves at some point when I'm ready to commission it. That'll put stuff in the appropriate tanks, and then I'll start. Then I'll shut off the valves and go from there, and hopefully be able to keep tabs on how much oxygen is being added, how much nitrogen and carbon dioxide and water are being consumed. And down here, I will, on this platform that is currently under construction, there will be another water making plant, exactly the same as the one we have over here. Down there, just maybe a little neater. And I may go with the 2-tank solution as well. Doubt if I will put them up on top of this tower, although I might, just because it's stupid. And I do love stupid solutions. Anyway, the pipes wrap around here, a little bit of pipe funkiness. They're going to drop down here. I will have some filtration units along here. So as and when I want to pull oxygen out of the greenhouse, it can go into the tank, and have the facility to do the same for carbon dioxide and nitrogen as well. Although there's nothing in here that will actually generate nitrogen. Some of the alien plants might, I don't actually know, but soybeans consume it, so I don't think I would ever be extracting nitrogen out of the atmosphere to put it into a tank, but I'll allow for that possibility. So there'll be some filtration along here, and these 3 squares in there, they will be my mushroom farm. And mushrooms do not like sunlight, so that's why they will be permanently shielded. And I've also thrown in some ladders around because I think it looks kind of cool. This section down here, this will be the much acclaimed fart chamber. There'll be some chutes that are going to drop in excess food and or seeds. Actually, it won't be dropping seeds in here, it'll just be dropping in food. And that will be exposed to some high temperature, low pressure pollutants, which I believe is the fastest way of getting food to decay. Once it's decayed, this sorter here will filter it through. Anything that's not decayed just gets dumped back in. If it is decayed into this green goopy slimy stuff, it will get fed into these composters. Now I may potentially add some, or add a recycler and a centrifuge to process excess seeds and maybe some of the food as well, because that gives you, I think, fertilizer that's based on biomass, I think gives you greater, or I think it increases the number of growth cycles for the fertilizer. So I figured that'd be worth playing around with. Fertilizer based just on biomass, I don't think actually does anything other than increase the growth cycles. But we want increased yield and increased speed as well. So there's a, let's see if I look up, if I could spell fertilizer. Right, so food gives you increased yield, decayed food increases the speed, and biomass is the number of growth cycles. So you can actually make fertilizer by using, now if you have one of each, then you'll get a bit of each of these, because I think you need 3 things to make 1 lump of fertilizer. So 25 food will give you 7 fertilizer with 1 left over. 7? Yeah, no, 8. Yeah, I'll give you 8 fertilizer with 1 bit of decayed food left over. As far as I remember, it has been a minute. The first thing to do is deal with this. So what I need to do first is find a way of connecting this pink pipe network, which is connected to the pink tank, to the pressure regulators here in such a way that I'm not pulling gas into the hot box from the manifold. So, and that will entail a little bit of rebuilding and some reprogramming, because around the front I have this dial arrangement which controls the speed of these 2 volume pumps. So if it's set to +10, it sets this to +10 and this one to -10, which is the same as 0, and when it goes into negatives then it is setting this one, and this one gets set to a negative value. So what I need to do is, instead of having that one switch control 2 pumps, I've got that, the dial to control 2 pumps. I have to make it control this, and when it goes into negative territory it's got to switch, I think, the mode. Let's see. Get into device configuration. So at the moment that's mode 1. If I switch that, now it's mode 0. So yeah, so I'll orient it in such a way that the mode 0, which will be out of the furnace, and mode 1 will be in. So that will probably live right where this T-junction is, and yeah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. So I have drained the furnace, I believe. It's reading a bit of residual temperature, but the hot box still has some gas in it. I don't really care about that, so I'm not going to try and save it. I should just turn these off, and we will use the brute force method. Ta-da! Right, so give that a few seconds and that should drain off quite nicely. So these pressure regulators, they could live anywhere, but I'm going to leave them there for the moment, and we'll just go about seeing how we can change things around. Let's see. I think I'm going to take out all of the pipes along here. Just so I can be a little clearer. So what I'm going to need, actually I've already got pipes in there, so let's pull those volume pumps out as well, because they are in the way. And we will also get rid of this bit of cableage. Okay, so now I could have these 2 pipes, or these 2 regulators right next to each other, which is actually a good idea because it will give me the ability to make the piping a little more compact, I think. So we'll get rid of this one. And we will make that go up like that. Get rid of that, make that a straight.
Hydration critical.
Right, so that's the back pressure regulator. This we just want to be a regular pressure regulator, like so. Right, so that connected up here. I'll make that connection now. Is that the right way? Yes. And do the paintage thing. So that's the pink. So hot gas into the hot box. And we'll just have it using a single passive vent. Right, so that can come out of the equation. Then we'll take out this. Oops. Volume pump. Now this needs data and power, so I'm going to have to get both sides wired up. That could be a bit of a challenge. Or maybe not. So I have to make certain I get the mode the right way around. So at the moment, mode is set to out. Mode is set to in. Yeah, that's the right way around. Okay, so it has to be oriented that way. Alright, let's play with some cabling. This was some temporary stuff I put in. Alright, so that will connect it there. This pipe needs to change just to a T. Right, so now we go. Alright, so we'll connect that one. Oh, we need the clippers. Okay.
Hunger critical.
Right, connection like so. Now I still want it to go into the output. I don't want to feed it through the input because you have to build. It will only take stuff through the input if the pressure in the pipe is greater than the pressure of the furnace. So go down, down, and in like so. So that gets me gas into the furnace and out of the furnace between its tank, which is good. don't know if I'm going to need this. I was working out an alternate arrangement I could run that. So I still need a connection between. Ooh, this is. Yeah. So let's make this all yellow. In fact, let's make this a slightly different color. I'm going to make it red temporarily to illustrate the point. Right, so the red pipe is an extension to the furnace's combustion chamber. There are times when I will want to cool it, which at present is being done by this heat exchanger, which is controlled by this digital valve here. So when I throw the switch at the front, it activates this digital valve, which allows its cold air, which is permanently connected to these radiators, to exchange heat with this pipe network. So I do need to connect the red pipe network to this pipe here. And I don't know if I can do it the way that I had done it previously. Because with all the wiring stuff in play, yeah, we're going to need to reroute some piping. Now, this olive pipe is largely unimportant for the operation of the furnace. It's purely a safety measure. So it doesn't really matter how long it is or how convoluted. It never stores anything beyond the valves. Like on this side, it's always a vacuum. So don't have to worry about that. I could actually run that a completely different way, although to get into the stack of it at the moment, it would have to go in there. Getting a little crowded real estate wise, but I mean, to be honest, this is the part of the game that I absolutely love. I can and do spend hours fiddle farting around with this stuff. I should be much better at atmospherics than I am. You know, it's what can I say? It just scratches that itch. So I can come out and down there. But I can't connect outwards. So I would need to reroute this. Let's put the important stuff in first. Right, so go up from there, up one, and we have to bypass the wiring. Unfortunately, I can't really take that wiring inside. Or maybe I could. Right, I need to eat and drink, so let me go take care of that, and I'll be back in a minute. Right, so back. Right, what I think I'm going to do here is dismantle this so I can peek inside and see what I can do with the cabling. Yeah, I could probably run the cables in here, which would allow me to do a direct downwards connection on that, which I would prefer. As much as I like funky pipework, I don't like having to put weird and wild kinks in the in it just to avoid cabling when the cabling can be rerouted. So that feeds, well, that's no longer necessary, but that is, so we shall replace that with a straight. Feeds that. That can be a straight. Yeah, I think we might be able to tidy up this wiring quite a bit actually, now that we have that open. So if I put cabling through like so, whoops, like that. So it's coming under the tank, so we're good. Straight and along. Right, so if that go through like so. Oh, hang on, am I messing up networks here? Right, let's make this white. No. Yellow. Right, so yellow for the furnace, white for everything else. So yeah, the white stuff has to be on all the time. Yellow stuff will go on and off with the setting of the transformer at the front. Okay, so this is what we want. Now that is to cool the tank, so that's okay. These ones up here, they are for, well, that's actually just to fill it up. Manifold cooler, that's okay. Alright, the coolant warmer, yeah, that's the one that's very important. That stops the coolant from getting too cold, and yeah, that needs power all the time. So on the back side, that's really the only thing that absolutely has to be connected to the white cable network. Everything else can be on the yellow. Right, okay. So where are we? So this. That there needs to be connected like that. That will allow me to do a straight downwards. Final check. Make it purple. Did everything change? It looks like it did. Right, I think we're in business. Don't like purple though, so I'll make it orange. Makes it look like copper pipe. Okay, so with that change done, we can now go back to the funkification of the pipes. Get my tools sorted. Right, so get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Straight up, and a bend. Right, so make that orange for a moment. Okay, that is the manifold cooler, and the manifold warmer is on the other side of this digital valve, which is as it should be. Alright, so now, yeah, just reconnect this waste pipe. Or evacuation pipe. God, it's hideous, isn't it? Oh, hang on, was... Oh, right, this is no longer needed for these, so rather than confuse myself, I'll just replace them with straights. That can live there. That we'll put somewhere else. Okay. Yeah, not certain what I'm going to do with all of these water vapor, all these condensation valves. I have a feeling I'm going to need to add a lot more of them in order for them to work. I don't know if this has ever actually caught anything. Oh, it does. Okay. I guess the pressure inside here is going to have to be greater than 22.9 megapascals in order for it to come out, unless we put some sort of pump on it. Don't know about that. We shall leave it and probably regret it. Now, the other thing I should look at is this volume pump. The idea behind this is to circulate the gas from the output of the furnace through to the input. And I did that because I noticed when I wanted to cool down the manifold, there was a significant lag on in any changes. I'd throw the switch at the front, it would open up the digital valve, that's the one up here. That would then connect the cool. It would allow cooling between within the heat exchanger between the coolant and the manifold. The manifold got cold, but the furnace didn't. So I tried to brute force it by putting in this volume pump, which would force the circulation around. Didn't seem to work that well, or didn't work quite the way I anticipated. It may be because of the pressures I was working at. It took too long to build up pressure on this pipe network and force the gas in. So Not really certain how best to handle that. I think I'll leave it as is for the moment. Right, so back pressure is okay. This wheel set to 100. Don't need to change the name because this is not controlled by code. They're either on or off. Pink pipe there. So the temperature is 900 Kelvin. That's way hotter than I would like. So I'm almost wondering whether I need to have a pipe connected from here up to a cooling system so I can cool it down. But I don't want to cool the whole tank down, because then the whole thing is going to turn to liquid, and I've got an even bigger problem. All right, well, let's see how it works. We'll plug it up. We'll turn on these, and that should give me 100 kilopascals of fairly toasty temperature. And I'll bring in a little gas into the... Oh, of course I can't, because I took out the volume pumps. So the code will no longer work. So I have to work with this one. So let's just turn it on for a little bit and see how much that gave us. Alright, so these two should equalize in temperature, but it will take time. It's interesting why the pressure's not going up. I did put the... Oh, what a donut. Yeah, really helps if you make certain that your hotbox is airtight. There we go. That should work now. Yeah, pressure's going up. Right, so what I need to do is rewrite the code up here to use this dial to control the new turbo volume pump. So I may add an additional turbo pump at some point to this, so I'll give it a name. So TVP for turbo volume pump. Degasser. And because I will forget, I will just copy that. Okay, now we do the fun codey stuff. Alright, so that should work. Famous last words. Too far away. Did I shrink myself? No. Not reporting any errors. Of course, I'm not doing anything to turn it on or off. Maybe I should. So we'll leave it off for the moment because I wish to avoid accidents. So if I set this to -1 here, it should be pumping 10 out of the furnace. Well, it is pumping out, but it hasn't made that setting change.
20 minutes later.
Okay, I figured it out. I was a numpty and I used the wrong branch command. I was doing BR for branch, but BR is branch relative. So, yeah, having the R in there really messed it up because, it was going to the wrong place, and it was only dealing with half of the equation. So yeah, branch greater than, and this works out fine. So yeah, we will replace it, update the code, put it in there. So it should be set to fill the furnace at 60. It is filling the furnace and it is set to 60. So we will change it now to -10. So now it is pumping out of the furnace and it is set to 10. And when it's set to 0, doesn't matter what direction it's pointing in, it will be set to 0. So turn that on now and it should work. Let's pick this up so that I don't boot it into the furnace inlet or something stupid. Yes, even though it's blocked, it might still happen. So let's get this out of the way. So the hotbox has equalized nicely at 100 kPa, and the temperature has equalized. The temperature is very different, very similar to what the furnace is. So that's close to where I would like it, but of course any lead that gets dropped in will get turned into an ingot. Not ideal. It would be nice to have a way of cooling it down. Well, because the hotbox is full of pollutants, that has a lot of thermal mass, so it will take a fair bit of energy to cool it down, even though there's not that much of it. And if I was going to do something, rather than try to attach a pipe off of this and attach that to a heat exchanger, might be simpler just to have a separate pipe network with a radiator in there that I could apply heating or cooling to. But for the moment that is working. Let us see how well we can pump up the pressure. So if I want to take it to 10 megapascals, let's give it 30 in. There we go, quite nice. So when I start degassing ores, the temperature in the furnace will decrease, and that will cool down the hotbox as well. So it may take a bit of cycling to get it down to the ideal temperature, which is around 380. I could possibly cheese it a little by wall hacking a lump of oxide in there, but that would have the potential to blow out a window. Okay, let's give it another go. So we will pull the blocker off, put it back in place. That's open, that's open. Nothing in the chute yet. So we will open that. Ores come tumbling down. That should already be set. Now there is some lead here, so that is going to get actually smelted as well as, well, yeah, it's going to get smelted.
Hunger
So
caution.
well, I could try cooling it. There's our first lead ingot. And we're going to have a whole bunch of them, I think, before it gets to the iron. Let's pump out a little. Let's pump out a lot. Oops. We're only just above the temperature that we need. In fact, some of it did not go through. Right, so 375 should be okay. That may be actually a little bit too cool now. Yep. Only partially degassed. So we actually need to heat it up a little bit. Whoa! Jeez. What the hell happened there? Damn. It really jumped up in temperature. Well, I should be able to throw the iron through. That will cool it down a little. Right, so when I want it heated, that's the digital valve that opens. Of course, there is a lot of gas there. What I should probably do is move this heat exchanger closer to this digital valve, because that's a lot of pipe section there that has to deal with 210 litres, and that is always exchange or obtaining heat from that side. So yeah, anytime I go to heat up, the stuff is going to heat up very, very quickly, whereas the cooling stuff, this large section of pipe is exposed to the cooling side all the time, but the cooling side doesn't have much mass in there, so that side of it warms up. So yeah, either I've either got to move this digital valve up to here, which would, it's doable, but then it looks really, really ugly, or move the heat exchanger and the associated piping down so that it is much closer to this digital valve. Let us see how funky we can make this. Okay, so that should minimize the heat shock that happens, because there'll still be 3 or 30 litres of gas volume that is permanently hooked up to the heat side, but there is a much bigger reservoir that it has to impact on. So yeah,
Hydration critical.
I could get it probably a little closer, but because of the separation on these, yeah. All right, we'll try that. I think that will work. I have said that before. Right, so let's try cooling it. Make certain it's opened the right valve. That's that one up there. So temperature in this pipe network, 240 Celsius. In here 234. And there 240 and dropping. So it is falling, just not really as fast as I would like. But it works. In fact, whilst this is cooling down, I should check on the cooling of the water, because I have not done anything yet to program this to rotate. I mean, even when the sun faces it, on Mimas, you will always get cooling. I could probably shut that off, because I also had it exchanging heat with the CO2. But yeah, I should stick with just the one, I think. The one cooling method, see how it works. Right, so I'll turn that off now that this has hit 400 or 399, and I think it should equalize. So I kind of have to pay attention to this, and that's telling me that when I'm going to automate this, I'm going to need to have a pipe analyzer that is going to be the thing that's actually going to control it, and I'm just going to have to wait for the furnace to catch up. Might be able to speed things up by replacing this with a turbo volume pump, which can pump a lot faster, but obviously it uses a lot more juice. And right now this shouldn't be shouldn't be using that much. Oh. Network analyzer. It says it's using 200. Off and unpowered. Is it really using 200? Required power 200, yes. Hot damn. Okay, so I will have to modify the code to turn that off when the setting is 0. Right, so as far as dealing with the pump being on or off, we can use R0 for that. No, we can use pump setting. Yeah. And I can take that out. That was just, I would put in for debugging. So that should work, I think. Right, so it's set to 0. Power should be off. If I try turning it on, it should immediately turn off. Yes. Now I set it to pump out at 10. It's on and pumping out at 10. Set it to 0. Turns off. Cool. Damn, those things use an awful lot of power. If you stuck with this, thank you. I appreciate you being here and sharing this with me. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. And I will catch you in the next one. 54 Bear out.